In episode 5, Tolya and Zoya have arrived in Ketterdam and they're completely unaware of what they left behind when everybody they know was attacked. They meet up with the Crows and they present them the offer. They tell Kaz and his group, name your price, but we're going to need that sword. They explain why they need it, right down to the whole Kurgan now having smoke monsters. Kaz tries to exclude Inej from this deal, saying that she's gone, but she's not gone. She's free, but she's very interested in still being a crow and helping out the group. Inej can't figure out why Kaz would keep quiet about this job, and that's when Nina says, because he'd rather push you away than admit he feels anything for you. That's right, Nina said the quiet part out loud. Inej, though, is not willing to sit on the sidelines. She approaches Kaz and says, I'm coming along. And I'm not doing it for you, I'm doing it for Alina. Kaz then collects the group together and tells them what he knows about where this sword is. He's got a source that tells him that it's been stolen by a thief known as the Disciple. The Disciple is a thief and a collector, but also retired. Since his retirement, he has put a few pieces of his collection on the black market. In order to get to the Disciple, they're going to have to get to the person that he goes through. Someone named Oval Saran. She has a tea shop, and in order to speak to her, you have to order a certain tea off the menu. So that's the plan. Head to Shuhan, find this person, order the tea, and speak to him about getting this sword. A little while later, they arrive in Shuhan, and they start looking for this tea shop. Wylan starts looking for a place to find some firing powder. So that's where him and Jesper go. As they do that, Nina, Inej, and Kaz go to grab some tea. Kaz and Nina sit down at the table while Inej is going to watch them from a rooftop. The plan is for Kaz and Nina to pretend to be buyers, a married couple who is looking for this item. A short while later, Oval Saran shows up. The meeting doesn't go great, though. First, Kaz doesn't really talk, and he kind of insults Saran's customs, because he doesn't take his gloves off. When she brings it up, he does, but he's also very uncomfortable after what happened with his brother and the firepox. He likes to keep gloves on. It also doesn't go great because she doesn't believe the story that they tell her. They tell her what they're looking for, but she just claims ignorance. And then she calls them out for being thieves, because she spent enough time around crooks to know one when she sees one. Saran is simply not willing to help them, and she gets up from the table and leaves. Inej was supposed to follow her, but instead, she goes to check on Kaz, who is clearly not doing well without his gloves. When Kaz and the group reconvene, he breaks some big news. Oval isn't just the middle person, she is the Disciple. Up until this point, they were being sexist, thinking that this person was a man. Nope, girls can do it too. Kaz, along with Nina, were able to figure this out through a bunch of tells. Kaz is also convinced that Oval has the blade, so now it's just a matter of stealing it from her. They were able to figure out where she lives, and that night, they're going to try and go get it. Nina and Zoya will tail Saran while she's out of the house trying to pick up a package and make sure that she doesn't come back to the house to catch the crows in the act. It should be a pretty simple job. Although Nina doesn't really feel comfortable hanging out with Zoya because they have bad history from their time at the Little Palace. Either way, though, they're going to have to spend some time together that night. Their conversation gets pretty uncomfortable when Matthias gets brought up. Nina is still in love with this guy. She's hell-bent on getting him out of Hellgate. And Zoya thinks that she needs to let this pipe dream go because the Fjordans hate the Ravkins. And what she has a problem understanding is Nina has no loyalty to Ravka at all. It is worth mentioning, by the way, that Matthias got a new inmate to deal with in Hellgate, Pekka Rollins. Matthias' cellmate actually went to attack Pekka because he recognized him. Pekka's the reason why his brother died, but Pekka ended up beating the ever-loving crap out of him. And then he got most of the prisoners on his side. It certainly seems like in a very short time, Pekka Rollins has been able to muster up a crew in Hellgate that is willing to work for him. But back in Shuhan, the woman that's trying to get Matthias out is just focused on following Oval. That doesn't go great, though, because there's a big celebration going on, and she loses her in the crowd. Nina does catch up to Oval, or kind of like Oval catches up to her, because Oval realized that she was being followed, and she grabs the heart renderer and starts choking her out. She leaves Nina there. It's unclear whether she thinks Nina is dead or not, but when Zoya catches up to her, Oval is long gone. She's likely headed back to her home, where the rest of the crows were in the middle of doing the job, and that went about as well as the tale. They walked right into a trap. They're trapped in a room where they can't get out, and there is a smoke filling the room that is making them choke. And time is absolutely of the essence. Now, over with Alina and her group, Kurgan has them on the move. They're underground and they're trying to recover quickly. And even though Kurgan is being advised that he should probably go after the armies, he's not going to do that. He's going after Alina because she's way more important. Alina, though, is still trying to find Maul, and she's getting more and more concerned with the fact that no one knows where he is. As everybody's just trying to collect their thoughts, get their bearings together, check on the injured, a smoke monster attacks their underground cavern, and they get really concerned. Until Alina hears Baghra's voice, because Baghra and Yuyeh were able to locate them, and they want to help out. Nikolai is amazed that Baghra is in his presence because he always thought that she was nothing more than a myth. And Alina is surprised that Yuyeh is in her presence because she thought she was dead. And Yuyeh is very concerned about how Alina will take her. Not just because of what she did to her, but because her face is very scarred up. But she's very relieved when Alina gives her a giant hug. Though, when Nikolai hears Yuyeh's name, he recognizes it as the person who poisoned his dad. And he gets infuriated. He wants to put her on trial. But Alina snaps back, "You're not doing that. This girl did not collude with the Darkling. She did what she had to do to survive." Alina really puts Nikolai in his place and makes him realize how lucky he is, because not everybody, i.e. Yuyeh, was as fortunate as him. He realizes that it was the king who forced himself on Yuyeh, not the other way around. And for that, he feels terrible. He tells Yuyeh that you're safe here. You have my word on that. And if you can point to his base on a map, I promise you that once we're healed and ready to move, I will hammer him with everything I have. Hearing this is a giant relief for Yuyeh. She then starts making her way around to the injured, helping them out using her Grecian powers, when she hears David calling her name. And David's been trying to get a hold of her since she arrived, but she's been blowing him off because she doesn't want David to see her like this. She runs away and she runs right into the hands of the queen, who acts just like Nikolai did when he first saw her. The queen's infuriated. She wants her dead right on the spot. But Yuyeh snaps back at the queen saying, "You want to know how I did it? I put the poison on my body for weeks. If your husband just could have kept his grubby hands off of me, he never would have been poisoned, but he forced himself on me. Thus, he was poisoned." The queen still wants Yuyeh arrested, but Nikolai puts a stop to that, saying, "No. This girl was under your protection. You failed her." And Nikolai's mother just storms out. It seems like Nikolai really does want to fix what's wrong with Ravka. David then is finally able to get a hold of Yuyeh, and he apologizes for what happened, for leaving her there, and tells her that her beauty is inside, not her face, all that good stuff. He then asks her, "Hey, how did you end up finding us?" And Yuyeh tells him it was Baghra. She amplified me to seek out familiar heartbeats. And of course, that familiar heartbeat would be David, who walks up to her and kisses her. As David and Yuyeh were catching up, so was Baghra and Alina. Alina tells Baghra all about how Kurgan can visit her. He's not physically there, but he's there. She thinks that he's able to do these sort of projections because the stag is still somewhat in his hand, and it connects the two. Baghra tells her, that mental bridge between you guys, it can only be crossed if you choose to cross it. Every time you think of him or he thinks of you, you seek the other out. You can't take the stag out of you, so you have to find a way to block him. And Alina gets an idea. She's going to try to visit Kurgan, bait him, and try to get the stag out of him. She sits down and starts concentrating, and sure enough, Kurgan is there. She starts sweet-talking him, telling him that he was right. She needs him. She wants to rule Ravkan by inside. And he's buying all of it. But as she's selling him on this, she's unaware that Maul has shown up. And when Maul locates Alina, he gets concerned because she's radiating all this power, and it looks like she might end up bringing the roof down. So while she's talking to Kurgan, she can hear Maul saying, "Alina, come back. Alina, wake up." But she's focused on getting the stag out of Kurgan. She continues to sweet talk until eventually she grabs the hand and tries to get the stag out of him, but it doesn't work because Maul is just being too disruptive. And when she finally does snap out of it, she snaps at Maul, "Damn it, I was close." He gets really upset at her for not telling him that Kurgan could visit her like this. And she's upset at him for not being there when Kurgan initially attacked. And that's when he tells her, "Well, the thing is, I was kind of arrested. I escaped, and I was able to track you guys down." That's why I wasn't there. They then start fighting about the fact that Maul didn't really fight the marriage. He starts fighting with her about the fact that she's putting too much on her plate. It ends with Maul telling her, "Don't worry, I'll find your Firebird." And then he walks out. After the failed attempt with Kurgan, Alina goes back to talk to Baghra. Baghra can tell that there's something going on with Alina. There's more to this story. She admits to Baghra that what this boils down to is the fact that he was the first person that made her feel like she wasn't just a map maker. He was the first person to show her that she was powerful and she was meant for more. Baghra gives her a little bit of a pep talk, one that she desperately needed, but Alina still thinks that she won't be able to save Ravka without the Firebird. And Baghra is willing to help her find that. While she doesn't know where it is, she has an idea of where to start. Morozova's workshop, or at least what remains of it. She then goes and visits Nikolai, giving him back the ring and saying, "I have to go. I have to go find this thing." While she's doing that, he's going to have to go save Ravka. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.